Just seconds remaining here in round 11. Michael Nunn may have put this one out of reach with the 11th round, but you never know. Certainly was an excellent performance by him in this round. We will keep it right here as John Scully goes back to his corner. Let's listen in to George Cruz.
Some great sugar weight limit fights. Huh? Well, you think Saudi comes back with all big combinations and everything in the last round? That's what you gotta do here. You hear me? You hear me, John? Yeah. I need you to fight like you never fought before.
Last round, Johnson.
Give me a good one here? Good. I need a good one. I need a good finish. See, Mike, the thing is, when you turn them, and there's going to be a last round here, so what I need you to do, when you turn them and you get to the side, jump right back in on them, okay? That's your opportunity to catch them.
Let's fight, John. You better go get it.
Work on him, John.
John, this is you, baby. This last round.
Let me get him. John Scully, who is facing his biggest challenge in Michael Nunn. It's Joe Goosen, the well-known trainer of Michael Nunn, George Cruz, sending John Scully out and saying, "This is you." And Scully saying, "Let me get to him." So we head into the 12th and final round of what has been a pretty close and very, very entertaining super middleweight bout. Now, we mentioned to you that Harold Letterman from New York, a judge, Clark Sammartino is from Rhode Island, Harold Gomes from Rhode Island. So all Eastern judges, two of them a little closer to John Scully's territory. This bout may very well be in their hands. Mr. Canty Jr. is the third man in the ring, who has distinguished himself, as always.
And John Scully emptying it here in the final round. Needed to get to this point, and he's unloading with some of his best work in 4 rounds.
I think it's safe to say, and tell me if you agree, had John Scully fought this way against some of those other 4 people he lost to, he would surely have won.
No question about it. The discipline has been there. The intensity, and basically he's had good balance. He would have won those fights, but maybe going through those fights taught him a whole lot that he was able to apply. Sometimes you have to hit the bottom first, which he did. Found a nutritionist, maintained a more rigid standard. One thing about it tonight, though, it is hard, very hard to win as a counterpuncher, and this fight may prove it.
And of course, Michael Nunn has thrown so many punches, as he's doing here. And here is the movement of Michael Nunn as we're halfway through round 12.
One thing to say about Scully's accuracy, he was down 500 punches, and he's in the fight.
Which is astonishing. So he has been landing very well, many of them to the body, as well as the head. And Michael Nunn using the foot speed and hand speed that once made him such a dazzling boxer, and he hopes will take him to another world title shot.
Opponents who would be scouting Michael Nunn would be seeing how he fights well in spurts, how he tries to steal time, and some seasoned opponents will try to make sure he doesn't steal that time when they fight him.
And a reminder that's still to come here in our ESPN Championship Boxing Series, the debut of this series, and it's been a good one so far. James Toney will be taking on Greg Everett. Under a minute left to go, and surely Michael Nunn has put a punctuation mark on this fight for him, and I would be surprised if he didn't get this decision, but you never know.
John Scully had his best opportunities in the middle round, took full advantage of it, ran out of gas a little bit. Credit Michael Nunn for some of those body punches which slowed John Scully down in the last 4 rounds in a deceptive way.
And so this one will come to an end. Michael Nunn and John Scully go 12 rounds. That's not a huge shock, but the way they went 12 rounds may have surprised some people. It was a ruggedly fought bout with lots of action. And for Michael Nunn, he went through a trial of fire here against John Scully. This crowd appreciative, and why not?
Michael Nunn had to fight in this rather than just circle and use the hand and foot speed that had carried him in the past. 116 for Nunn in the 12th round as far as punches thrown, well over 100. The difference, again, though, in the last 4 rounds, the 100 were far more effective than they were in the middle rounds of the fight. They were punches for show in 5 through 8. They were very good 9 through 12.
And I'll tell you something about young John Scully there. This is a boxing rebirth for him. no matter what, whether he loses this decision or not, at the age of 28, he has added 2 or 3 years onto his boxing career as a meaningful fighter if he stays in this kind of shape. That was a fine performance.
And he knew that he was right in there against the former champion till the end.
The total numbers in this one. Wow, Scully did come back pretty strong, didn't he?
And threw far less punches. Now the difference will be the quality in the landing, and how will the judges be impressed by how many none threw. With that volume, despite the fact that you've been outlanded, usually that volume carries to the guy that threw it. He should win based on those numbers.
When you get into the 1,200 area, which is the Kevin Pompey, Tyrone Trace area fight that we had here on ESPN, it was a big one, you are going to usually get the job done.
Let's show you what it was.
Danny Campbell in the center of the ring. Let's go to him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we go to the scorecards, Judge Harold Letterman scores the fight 118-110. Judge Harold Gomez scores the fight 120-108. And Judge Sam Martino scores the fight 119-109. All for the winner. And the new North American Super Middleweight Champion, Michael.
I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that wide a margin did not agree with what we saw here at ringside. And I got to tell you something, that's discouraging to a young fighter like John Scully to perform like this and not even get the credit for some rounds that he won. That's wrong.
He shouldn't have lost by more than 4 points.
No.
He was in this fight for the good part of it. That sometimes is winning a fight on your reputation, and we've seen that here.
And take nothing away from Michael Nunn. He came through when he had to in this fight, and he does get his win, and Michael Nunn keeps his championship hopes alive. But don't be fooled by that score, folks.